Bob said he got a chance to speak to Klay this morning. Have you spoken to him? And obviously, without going into specific, how was the conversation that you had?
I have not spoken with Klay yet. Texted, but hope to speak with him this evening sometime. Klay is elusive.
Steve, considering the story you told us last night about wanting 2 minutes of rest and kind of torn ACL in this whole thing,
I know.
What does that say just about Klay's resolve and desire to obviously play?
One of the great competitors I've ever been around, not just from a willingness to compete and fight, but a level of play that he reached during this postseason. When you combine all that, just his confidence, his competitive fight, his ability to keep cool under pressure, guy's amazing.
How have you processed the last 14 or so hours? How are you feeling at this point?
Still sort of processing it. More than anything, just I keep thinking about Kevin and Klay and the severity of the injuries. Injuries are always a part of the playoffs, and whoever wins generally has a lot of good fortune along the way. We've been in that position, and oftentimes injuries play a role when you lose, but very rarely, if ever, in the finals. Has there ever been an Achilles tear from a star player in the finals? I don't remember anything like this. I remember Kareem spraining his ankle, or Magic Johnson and Byron Scott pulling hamstrings. I remember stuff like that, but for Kevin to rupture his Achilles and then Klay to tear his ACL in back-to-back finals games, how do you process that ever?
On top of that, how do you process looking forward and knowing that they're going to be out for a significant chunk of time next season?
Yeah. So it's hard to even picture, what next year's team will look like at this point, and we'll see how it all shakes out. And we're hoping to have both those guys back. And if that's the case, it'd be great, but neither one would be available for quite a while to play. So our team's going to look a lot different next year.
Steve, way back on maybe day one here, you said we've got to cherish this. We all know this doesn't last forever, and
right.
let's have joy. And I'm sure you're feeling some of that even right now, because you just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, some of what I'm feeling is a sense of pride in our group. I can't tell you how many texts I've had over the last 24 hours from coaches and colleagues around the league saying, this was more impressive than your championship years. What these guys have accomplished in this playoff run with all these injuries through all this adversity is even more impressive than their winning titles over the last 4 years. So that's how I feel. Just an incredible accomplishment. Came up just short of being able to force a Game 7. But what hangs over everything is the injuries to Kevin and Klay, and what that means for them individually in their careers, and so it's a strange day.
Steve, what do you make of the term organizational fatigue? I think that's been going around a little bit. Just everything that you guys have been through the last 5 years. Do you feel any of that? Do you think that's happened here?
Organizational fatigue?
Yeah, just top to bottom.
I haven't heard that phrase before. I think fatigue in general, however you want to phrase it, but it's not easy going through these seasons. Getting all the way to the finals, it takes so much energy and emotion, and to do it back to back to back to back to back. Did I get that right? Were those five?
Yeah.
Maybe I, yeah. That's just an incredible accomplishment. But yeah, it takes an awful lot out of you. So I think everybody's fried right now. But that's what the summer's for, and we'll recharge the batteries and be ready to go in late September.
With all the questions hanging over the team, is there any part of you that wonders if this could be the end of the dynasty?
No, I don't look at it or think about it in those terms. I really don't. You know, Steph's going to be back next year, and Draymond's going to be back, and you know, we're going to have a bunch of the players from here, and we can still be really good. And you know, assuming we get some breaks health-wise. Klay, KD, that they recover, we could be really good again. So I don't look at it from that standpoint at all.
You talked during the season about how DeMarcus was probably just going to trampoline this season into a bigger contract elsewhere. With the torn quad and the playoffs, it's probably more unknown what he's walking into in free agency. Are you more optimistic that maybe he could come back?
I think there's a chance. I would say that the hope is that frankly that he can do a lot better financially than what we could offer him. But who knows? Every year is different. There are a lot more teams with cap room this summer than last summer, and this summer is going to be it'll be a wild free agent market. And we have to figure out, our own situation, particularly with Klay and Kevin, and how all that shakes out. But I could absolutely foresee a place for DeMarcus here if he wanted to come back. It's just a question of, what are his goals, what's out there for him.
This is it for Sean Livingston. Can you speak to, going back to a devastating injury for this guy who came back and became this player and did some really special things for you guys?
Yeah, Sean has always been kind of one of our quiet leaders, and I think this year he took on a more vocal role, particularly with David and Zaza moving on last year, David West. Sean and Andre became the elder statesmen on the team, and they both took on bigger roles vocally, and I thought Sean was really key for us this year in holding everything together. He's always been sort of under the radar, one of our key human beings. Obviously an excellent player, but rock solid human being, and somebody who understands team dynamics. So I would love to continue to coach him, and we'll see how it all plays out. But Sean is a special human being, and we've been lucky to have him.
This is a really complicated free agency period that you guys are going into. How much does it settle you to know that Bob Myers is basically the guy spearheading all of that?
Yes, I have unbelievable confidence in Bob, and he's incredible at his job, one of the best in the business. And I think on the outside looking in, everybody looks at a GM and says, well, how is this guy as a GM? Here's who he picked. The term is general manager. It's not general picker. It's general manager. Bob manages people. He manages our coaching staff. He manages the players. So what he means to the group goes way beyond who he picked with the 39th pick in 2013. And yet, most of what's covered media-wise is, every basketball move. Jerry West, probably the best GM of all time, once said, if you bat 500 as a GM, you're doing great. 1 out of every 2 getting right, that's a hell of a record. So nobody's going to get them all right. In fact, most people are going to get them wrong more often than not. But the stability that Bob provides, the humanity, the friendship, the guidance, the counsel, that doesn't grow on trees. that doesn't show up in an analytics book. That doesn't show up in anything other than an exceptionally gifted, compassionate, smart human being. So Bob's value is of the utmost importance to our organization.
Seems like we wanted to take a daily pulse on KD's free agency throughout the year. Now that it is very close and the entire season has played itself out, what's kind of your pulse, your optimism on Kevin coming or going?
Well, the injury kind of throws everything for a loop. So I have no idea what Kevin's going to do. I know that we all want him back, and we think this is a great situation for him, and vice versa. So hopefully we get him back and keep this thing going with the understanding that he's a free agent, and we want what's best for him, and he's free to make any choice he wants. So hopefully he's back, and we will all give him any advice, any counsel that he needs, and ultimately he's going to make his own decision. He's earned that.
How do you feel about your future here? I mean, obviously you signed an extension. Just
my future?
Yeah. How refreshed do you feel like you'll be after this summer?
I'm excited about. I'm excited about the summer.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys all are. But I have no doubt I'll be refreshed and recharged and ready to go. I love this job. I love doing what I do. I love the working with the people that I work with every day. So I'll be ready to go. But yeah, I need a little vacation.